Hey guys, it's your girl T. So it's time for another recap of our favorite reality TV show, Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, aka The Bold and the Ratchet. So it premiered yesterday and there was a lot of bold and ratchet stuff going on. So let's go ahead and get this recap popping. So in the opening scene, we have Omarion, Apryl, and Leslie, and they are extremely happy. Baby Mega is here, and you can just see the glow in Omarion's face. You can tell he's just so happy to be a father. He said he's never loved anything so much than his son. And so they're all talking and bonding over the baby. And then Apryl starts getting sad because she's thinking about how her mom wasn't there for her throughout her pregnancy. Her mom never asked her how she was doing. And Leslie's unaware of this. Leslie had assumed that Apryl and her mom were close. But see, this is what kind of bothers me with this dynamic. It's obvious that these people don't really know each other. Maybe Apryl and Omarion do. But Leslie obviously doesn't know anything about Apryl for her not to realize that Apryl and her mother are not close. Because it seemed like all of this came as a shock to Leslie. And so April's like, yeah, you know, my mom doesn't call. You know, it's like she gave us up and she hasn't been a mother. And I watch how close you and Omarion are. You guys are like best friends. And she's like, that's all I ever wanted for my mother. And then she starts breaking down crying. You know, and so Leslie feels really bad, and Leslie promises her that she'll be there for her and that she's accepting her as her daughter, you know, and that even though she can't replace her mother, she'll be there for Apryl. And so Apryl says that her mother's going to be visiting, coming to see baby Mega. Her mother lives in Chicago, so she's going to be there in a few days to come and see the baby. And hopefully she'll be able to sit down with her mother and talk about everything that she's going through and the way that she's feeling. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we have nagging ass Nia and messy ass Morgan. So they're meeting up together to basically walk with baby Cameron and just talk about what's going on in their lives. So Morgan is letting Nia know that she's no longer really working with Ray J. You know, they had a falling out. It's been a lot of beef. And Nia's surprised to hear this. And then, you know, Nia and her sit on the bench and Nia's looking all sad and melancholy. And Morgan's like, you know, what's wrong, Nia? What's going on? And she's like, well, you know what? I think I'm pregnant. And Morgan's like, what? You know what I'm saying? You think you're pregnant? She's like, yeah, I think I'm pregnant. You know, I just had a baby about 1.5 years ago. So, you know, I know when I'm pregnant. And then Morgan's like, yeah, I feel you, and I have a child as well. So sometimes you know that you're pregnant before the EPT test can tell you that you're pregnant. And I do agree, when it's the second child, you kind of know when you're pregnant. Okay, so what I found funny is that they're sitting here talking. Morgan's like, well, have you told Soulja Boy? Did you take a pregnancy test? And Nia's like, yeah, I took the pregnancy test. And Morgan's like, okay, so what did the results say? And Nia's like, well, it said that I was pregnant. So now I'm looking at the TV screen and Morgan's looking back at me. We're looking at each other, giving this bitch Nia the side eye. Because we're looking like, hold up now. First of all, you just said that you thought you might be pregnant. And then less than a minute later, you're telling us that you took a pregnancy test and it came back positive. So which one is it? Are you pregnant or do you think that you're pregnant? I'm like, how the hell do you get either one of those confused? Either you're pregnant or you're not pregnant, or you think that you're pregnant. Once you take a pregnancy test, it's going to let you know yeah or nah. You know, I don't understand that. It's like Nia's just ditzy as all get out. She just gets on my nerves. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we have Masika and Young Berg. And basically, they're just ratchet as hell. I can't stand these two anymore. Masika has definitely, you know, I have no respect for her. Basically, now she's just openly flirting with Berg. They're basically talking about taking their relationship to the next level. Now, this dude went from being your friend. You were so stuck on Molly. Now, all of a sudden, you're stuck on Young Berg. So now we see her. She's in the studio and she's singing. Young Berg basically gave Hazel E's song to Masika to sing over it. So now Masika is taking over Hazel E's song. And, you know, Young Berg is like, good, we're going to play this song at my party. I'm having an all-white affair. I invited Hazel E. So maybe once Hazel E sees me and you together, she can stop her obsession. And I'm sitting here like, Young Berg is just, he's just so arrogant. He's just so cocky. And once again, he looks like he should be in the 8th grade. What these women see in him, I just don't understand. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we have nagging ass Nia, and she decides to call Soulja Boy via FaceTime. So she calls Soulja Boy, and he's literally, you know, backstage. He's in the green room, and everybody's there in his green room. And basically, you know, he's trying to talk to her, but there's like 50 people. And she has an attitude, and she's like, you know what, I want to talk to you. I thought it was just going to be you. You know, I don't want to tell my business in front of everybody. And Soulja Boy's like, you know, what's the problem? You know, what's the big deal? I'm about to go perform. I'm getting ready to go on stage, and I just happened to answer your call because I thought it was an emergency. mercy. And once again, she's just nagging and getting an attitude with him. And so his road manager comes and is like, you know, Soulja Boy, you have to get back on stage. So she's like, you know what, I'm over here stressing out and you're worried about getting on stage. And he tells Nia, okay, well, do I put the show on hold to talk to you because you're stressed out? Like, I mean, come on, there's people out here waiting for me to come perform. And Nia's like, you know what, you do what you gotta do. I'm just gonna sit here and just stress myself out. And Soulja Boy's like, you know what, all right then, bye. So he ends up hanging up on her. She gets mad and she closes her MacBook. And I find it funny how she's upset and she always wants to come at Soulja Boy like he's just so immature and he's just so childish. But to me, Nia's just as immature and childish her damn self. She was just so grown and she was ready to do her thing. She would not be running behind this dude. First of all, Soulja Boy looks like he's about 15 and he has a body of a 15-year-old. Second of all, if you're so all that, you have a child who's 1 year old. So right now you're not with that child's father. Why would you put yourself in a position to get pregnant by this so-called immature dude? Why would you want to have 2 kids by 2 different people in less than 2 years? And especially when you don't even know your relationship with Soulja Boy. You don't know from 1 minute to the next if he wants to be with you, if he wants to leave you. So why put yourself in a position to get pregnant? If she got pregnant, I feel like she got pregnant on purpose, trying to trap him or thinking that, you know, once she's pregnant, that might force him to grow up. I'm gonna need Nia to get her life together. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we're at Young Berg's Hollywood birthday party. And I'm sorry, Young Berg is so little. It literally looks like he has on a white dress with some leggings. I'm sitting here looking like, what the hell does Young Berg have on? He has on this long ass, you know, button down shirt with some skinny jeans, but it literally looks like a white dress and some leggings. All he needed was some high heel pumps. And so he's walking in with Masika and she has on her little white dress. Everybody in the party is dressed in white, but who? Hazel E. So Hazel E shows up with Ray J and she's dressed in all black like she's in mourning from losing Young Berg. I'm like, why the hell is this bitch dressed in all black? You know, somebody else has to be the odd one out. So she's there and everything. Everybody else is there. And Young Berg is just being super affectionate to Masika. They're on stage kissing. He's telling Masika that he loves her. Tia Marie then shows up and everybody's looking like, well, what the hell is going on? Because Masika was just fighting over Molly Mall. Now her and Young Berg are on love. So Tia Marie is also confused because Young Berg being her face in the studio. So then he tells the crowd that he wants her to basically, you know, perform her new song. So Masika gets up there and she starts singing and Hazel E's like, you know, what the fuck? That's my song. Is this bitch for real? So then Hazel E starts rapping and folks start paying more attention to Hazel E than Masika. So now Masika's getting mad. She's like, you know, what the hell is going on down there? You know, what's going on in aisle 9? You know, so I'm just cracking up because now the sudden the tension's not on Masika and she's pissed off. And to be honest with you, I had seen Hazel E rapping on Hot 97, and Hazel E can rap. You know, she does have some skills. I don't know about that damn song she made for Young Berg, but the freestyle that she kicked on Hot 97 was hot. So she's freestyling. So Masika jumps off the stage, and her and Young Berg start walking over to Hazel E, and they start confronting her. And, you know, Hazel E's going off on Young Berg like, this is some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You never treated me like this. We were supposed to be friends, and you just turn around. Now you're messing with Masika. It's like you're trying to talk to all my ex-best friends. You're just being wild disrespectful. And Young Berg is like, you know, you're delusional. You know what I mean? You're the one who's obsessed with me. I never told you we were together. It was just about sex. So Young Berg is talking shit. Then Masika starts putting in her input. And Hazel E's like, you know what? I'm just trying to hold back from hitting her right now. I don't want to lose my composure. Part of me was really hoping that Hazel E would punch Masika in her little trout mouth because Masika is just rude as hell. She's sneaky. She's not a real friend. And I don't respect the way she went about with the whole Young Berg situation. Regardless or not, she sat there and she was in this girl's face trying to be her friend and everything else, only to turn around and see who she's sleeping with. So Tia Marie ends up walking up and she's like, you know what, this is crazy. So now Tia Marie's kind of getting into it with Hazel E. They're all going back and forth and Tia Marie's like, you know, what's up, what's going on, you know, so what, are y'all two together now? So now they're getting louder and then all of a sudden Sincere decides that he needs some camera time. What Sincere does, I don't know. So Sincere walks into the mix and he's like, you know what, y'all need to be quiet. Y'all being real disrespectful right now. This is his birthday party. He don't need this shit. Lord, when Tia Marie said, listen here, Deacon Fat Ass, I fell the hell out. I'm like, Tia Marie is a fool. She's like, Deacon Fat Ass had no business coming in here trying to tell us nothing. I'm tired of Sincere. He always got something to say. So then Tia Marie and Sincere, they get up into it. They start arguing and everything else. So the whole situation is just a mess. All these people are over here in this little circle arguing while the guests are just like, you know, what the hell is going on? Then Ray J ends up walking up. Sincere walks away. Ray J tells Tia Marie that he needs to talk to Tierra, and Tierra's like, you know what, I'll think about it. So Tia Marie and Hazel East, they start finishing up their conversation, and Hazel East basically telling Tierra, you know what, you're not going to admit that you were a good friend. You were telling me about Young Berg and how disrespectful he was, and I didn't believe you, but now I'm seeing it for myself because how he's treating me with Masika. And Tia Marie's like, you know what, I tried to warn you, but you didn't want to listen. So then she ends the conversation by telling Hazel E that she needs to go talk to Ray J because she needs to know what Ray J wants from her. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we had Tia Marie and Ray J, and basically Ray J is going to Tia Marie to apologize for everything that he's been putting her through. He feels like, you know what, he was real disrespectful when she came to the studio that day to show him concern and love. And Tia Marie's not buying it. She's like, you know what, Ray J, I'm over you. I'm over this whole situation. And Ray J's like, you know what, you can't be over me. I don't believe that you're over me. I feel like you're just saying that you're over me just to make yourself feel better, but I don't feel like you're really over me. And Tia Marie's like, you know what, it's a bunch of mess. I'm just tired of your nonsense. And I feel like you're not really happy because I'm hearing a lot of stuff that's going on with you and your girlfriend, Princess. I never disrespected her until she disrespected me first. When she disrespected me, then all bets were off. And Ray J's like, no, you're just disrespectful, and it makes no sense that you would come at her like that. So then they start going back and forth, and so Tia Marie's like, you know what, you need to check her. She's the one talking about that she's finding condoms in your bag, and that you cheated on her, and that you're no good, and that you're a drunk. And Tia Marie just starts spitting all this shit that she's hearing. So now Ray J's putting two and two together, like, hold up, how the hell are you hearing all this personal shit that's not even on the blogs? How do you know all this? So then he's like, you know what, tell me that Morgan didn't tell you our business. And Tia Marie's like, you know what, I don't have nothing to say. She starts looking up in the sky. So it's obvious that Messy Morgan is once again being messy. So Rachel's like, you know what, Tierra, I apologize for what I did to you, but I'm done with this conversation. And then he ends up walking away. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next one we have Apryl. Her mother has finally flown in from Chicago, and her mom look a lot alike. They both got the same little bags under their eyes. I thought that was kind of cute. But you know, you can definitely see where Apryl gets a lot of her features from. And her mom is head over heels over Mega, and you know, she's really affectionate towards the baby. Who wouldn't be affectionate toward the newborn? I mean, come on, newborns are just so cute and little. So Apryl's feeling some type of way because she feels like her mother was never that affectionate towards her and her sister. So then they go in the kitchen, they start talking, and you can see her mother's getting really emotional. And April's like, you know, why are you ready to cry? What's wrong? You know, I just want to talk to you. And her mom's like, because whenever you want to talk, you start shouting, you start going off, and I just, you know, I don't have time for it. And April's like, you know what, well, I'm tired of the nonsense, and we need to talk about my childhood and everything I went through. So you can just tell, like, they just went through a lot. And it seems like sometimes when your parents are from another country, like if you have African parents like I do, if you have Asian parents, they're not as open to tell you certain things about their childhood. They're not as open to talk to you about certain things. I can definitely feel what April's going through, you know, because my mom was very reserved like that. We didn't really have a close relationship like that growing up. Our relationship has gotten closer now that we're older. But, you know, growing up, it was a lot of, I couldn't go to my mom and talk to her about certain things. I didn't get hugs. I didn't get, you know, compliments and stuff like that. So I definitely could feel where Apryl was coming from and how, you know, hurt she was and how she got left with the grandmother while the mother went back to Asia to go do her thing. And it just seems like the mother's just not ready to talk. I think the mom might be willing to talk to Apryl if the cameras are not there. Because, you know, especially in the Asian community, especially like in Asian families, they're very reserved. You know, they don't just put their business out there. That's why you don't see a lot of Asian people on reality TV shows. You know, they're not just going to put their business out there. They're not just going to tell their life stories. So I understand her mom for being apprehensive about wanting to talk to Apryl about everything she went through in her life and what she's still going through. But I think once the cameras go away, she can have a sit down with her daughter and really explain to her daughter what all she went through. Because looking at her mom, it looks like she has a story to tell, but she's not ready to share it with Ratchet Television, and I don't blame her. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we had Tia Marie, and Tia Marie decides to meet with Ray J and Brandy's mama, Sonia Norwood. So I'm sitting there like, well, damn, are the Norwoods going to come back to reality television? Because last week we had Mr. Willie here talking to Ray J. This week we had Sonia Norwood talking to Tia Marie. So it's obvious that Sonia and Tia are very close, and it's obvious that Tia Marie and Ray J really did have a relationship, because a mother would not be coming out to come talk to Tia Marie if she was just some jump off or just some one night stand. So, you know, when Ray J tried to act like, you know, she was nothing to him, that was obviously a bold-faced lie, and, you know, his mother basically confirmed that last night. So when they talked about everything, so while they're talking, Tia Marie's just telling her, like, you know, like she's just really hurt by everything Ray J's put her through, and she's trying to get over him. She's trying to move on. And Sonya's like, you know, I liked you guys together. I thought you guys were a good couple. But Sonya understands that, you know, for whatever reason they can't get along and that they need to go their separate ways. And Tia Marie just feels like she does not like Princess. She doesn't feel like Princess is good enough for Ray J. And you can tell that Sonya agrees with Tia Marie, but she's not trying to ruffle any feathers because Princess is Ray J's new girlfriend, and so she doesn't want to be disrespectful. But you can tell that she's not really feeling Princess like that either. While Sonya's understanding of Tiara's heartache, she tells Tiara that she needs to be worried about Tiara and put Tiara first as opposed to putting Ray J first. So I definitely felt where Sonya was coming from with that. You know, she just wanted to be that mother figure to Tiara and give her some, you know, advice and stuff like that. But she knows that her son ain't on shit. So she just feels like, you know what, Tiara, don't even waste your time. Live your life. Get yourself a good man, because Ray J, all he wants to do is just run the streets and talk to different girls and, you know, whatever else. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we have Nag and Nia. And in this scene, she's coming out of some clinic. She's looking really, really sad. And then we find out that supposedly she had a miscarriage and she's coming from her doctor's clinic. She says that she was cramping really bad. And then all of a sudden, she thought she was having a miscarriage, but she wasn't sure. So she ran to the doctors and they confirmed that she had a miscarriage. And I'm sitting there like, okay, all this happened in one scene. Like, you were just talking to Morgan, and at that point in time, you didn't know if you was pregnant, and then within the same scene, you were pregnant, and now just a few scenes later, you've had a miscarriage. I'm going to need Nia to have several damn seats. And so now she's upset, and she's feeling some type of way because she had to deal with this miscarriage by herself because Soulja Boy's over in Brazil having a good time. Well, last time I checked, I thought that he was out there working. He's out on tour. So, yes, he may be having a good time, but he's also putting in work and making money to bring home to you and your child. You know, this girl just gets on my nerves, and she tries to act like she's just so much more mature and so much more older than Soulja Boy. But like I said, if she was truly mature, she would not have found herself pregnant in the first place by Soulja Boy, especially when she already has a really young child. I mean, the whole situation just made no sense. I can't say I feel bad for her because I don't know if she's telling the truth or if she's lying. She claims that she really had a miscarriage, but the way that everything played out, it just looks shady, and it makes me give her the side eye. Moving on to the next scene. So in the last and final scene, Ray J decides to meet up with Messy Morgan, and Ray J's there, and Morgan's kind of happy. She feels like, well, you know what, she might be getting her job back, so she's all boosted. She's walking into the restaurant with a pep in her step, and as soon as she gets there, she can tell that the vibe is totally off. Ray J's like, you know what, I don't understand what's going on with you, but I want to know why the hell you feel the need to tell my business. And Morgan's like, what are you talking about? And Ray J's like, you was telling my business, you know, whatever Princess is telling you, you're turning around telling Tia Marie, and I told you from jump to stop talking to Tia Marie. And Morgan's like, you can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me that I can't talk to Tia Marie. You need to check Princess. I'm not coming to Princess for information. She's calling me. And Ray J's like, regardless of the situation, you have no business running your mouth about my business to other people. And Morgan's like, you know what, F you, Ray J, you got me effed up. And Ray J's like, you know what, from this day forth, do not claim me as family. You're not my sister. You're not shit. So now they start arguing back and forth, and then she's just dropping all types of tea. She's like, why you want to sit here and cuss me out? You need to check your bitch, because when you're not there, when your ass is sitting in jail, she's sitting here talking to Floyd Mayweather. She's clowning Floyd Mayweather, talking to him for hours at a time. So then Ray J kind of looks like, damn, you know, I wasn't expecting that damn tea to drop in my lap. So he kind of looks shocked, but then he's like, you know what, F you, bitch. I don't believe nothing that comes out your mouth. And then she gets up and she falls on my side, and she's like, you know what, Ray J, you fake, you broke as hell. That's a rental car. You don't own nothing. And he's like, F you, bitch. You the one who broke. You don't have no job. So they're just going back and forth like they're little kids on the playground. The whole situation was just a mess. And then Ray J's like, you know what, I ain't been in the car since I was a shorty. This is my car. It's like he's trying to explain himself to us because Morgan done walked off. So I'm like, why is he explaining himself to us? You know, we don't know if you own your car, if you rent your car, unless you've shown some paperwork. We don't care. I'm more interested in that damn tea that Morgan was splashing all over the damn restaurant about Princess and Floyd Mayweather. Because you know Princess is Floyd Mayweather's ex-girlfriend that Ray J supposedly stole from Floyd. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out next week. So anyways, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know your favorite parts of tonight's episode. What did you think about the whole Nia situation? Do you feel like she was really pregnant, or she just did this for a storyline? And then how do you feel about Tia Marie and Ray J? Do you think they should get back together, or do you think they should just stay apart? So anyways, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. And if you're not following me, make sure you follow me. I am at LovelyT on Twitter, and I'm LovelyT2002 on Instagram. Alright, deuces.